Say hello to the CreatorPro 17 from MSI. I got to scoot back a little bit. This is a massive laptop. It's basically a mobile productivity workstation that you can do all sorts of work and all sorts of gaming. This isn't like a Lenovo where you're going to go out there and just use it like a yoga. This is something where you're going to use it for intensive things like software engineering, visual graphics design, video editing, also some gaming. It's got a lot of power. There are cheaper models, but this is the most expensive one that they have, $44.99. Yeah, crazy expensive. It comes with the 12th generation i9 processor in it, so the 12900, up to 5 gigahertz, which is pretty crazy. The performance core can go up to 5 gigahertz, and then the efficiency cores can be boosted to 3.8 gigahertz. This thing has 14 cores in the processor, which is a whole lot. And it's designed to be that way because what you want from this is you want to do massive productivity, massive work, massive gaming, all those great things, all in one. And that's why it's so expensive. Yes, you could go out and buy a gaming laptop cheaper. Yes, you could go buy a work laptop, probably cheaper. You could definitely get a desktop. But this isn't a desktop. This is a mobile workstation. They have fancy words for this. It's not just laptop. It's a mobile workstation. It's got a big 17-inch screen on here, IPS panel, 100% sRGB, everything you need to get the job done. I wish it were an OLED. Unfortunately, it's not an OLED, but it does have an IPS panel, which is perfectly fine. Quad HD plus resolution, 165 hertz. It's got a built-in fingerprint sensor for biometrics. It's also got the facial recognition stuff with the Windows Hello and all that. It does have a 1080p webcam, which is perfectly good. It works pretty good. You can see right here, I've got some footage. You can see what the quality of it looks like. But 16:10 aspect ratio, 165 hertz refresh rate. Perfect for work, play, gaming, all that stuff. This model has 64 gigabytes of RAM. That's a whole lot. The model that I have here has got a 1 terabyte SSD. You can add an extra one if you want to rip open the internals and put an extra one in there. We talked about this 64 gigabytes of RAM. It's 4800 megahertz DDR5, which is pretty darn good. It's not DDR4. DDR5 is fantastic. 2 slots in here. So you're not really going to be able to expand the memory. I think 64 gigs is what it maxes out at. And if you get this model, it's full up with 230 gigabyte chips. When it comes to battery life, I know a lot of people want to know about this. It's got a 4-cell 90 watt hour battery. Fairly typical, but here's the deal. It's going to get you about an hour and a half maximum when you're running this on performance mode, fully maxed out, playing games, all that good stuff. You're going to get more than that. You can get about 4.5 hours, I think, whenever you're testing it out, using it for other things like Microsoft Word, internet browsing, things like that, maybe about 5 hours. But yeah, that's going to be in a more balanced mode when you're using the laptop. It's not going to be performance mode. It's not going to be playing games. It's not going to be rendering and editing. That eats up the battery. So that's about it in the battery situation. Big power supply that, yes, you're going to want to use this on a power supply. It's called mobile workstation, not laptop. Like, it's not intended to be portable and like sit in your lap on an airplane. Not really what they mean. This means basically the power you need to do work on the go with all the crazy things in here and the bells and whistles. The other things that make this a compelling laptop, it weighs 5.5 pounds. Now, when you're talking about all the stuff that's in here, we've got a massive GPU in here, the Nvidia A5500, 16 gigabytes of RAM. So 16 gigabyte of RAM video card, super powerful. Now, this is not the 3080, not the 3080 Ti. It's got a different design and purpose. This is a professional grade video card. It's not just surface level, okay, let's grab a 3080. It has a lot of power. It's got a lot of RAM, which means it can do a whole lot of things, especially when it comes to like rendering, exporting, scalability, all that stuff. It's kind of a little bit different than when you look at things from a traditional laptop. And that's why you want 64 gigs of RAM. You don't want to go get a big, powerful mobile workstation laptop that's got like 16 gigs of RAM and like an i5 in it. That just doesn't work out so well because you're not going to have the resources on demand whenever you fire it up and it gets going. And the processor in here can support up to about 92 Celsius maximum whenever it's in performance mode. It's got different modes on it for balance and performance. It'll turn up the fan. And the fan itself, actually there's like 3 fans in here. And they're supposed to be, I believe, like the world's smallest fans. They've got 3 of these suckers inside of the case, which you can tell that they're there. Like, it definitely powers and goes, and it has plenty of air movement, which is nice. I mean, you can look on the back here. There's got some nice ventilation here on the back. On both sides of it, you got ventilation on the sides. I mean, it's got everything you could possibly want. One thing I wish it had is a LAN port. It does not have a dedicated LAN port. However, as I was using it and I got to thinking about it, I'm like, okay, as a gamer, like if I wanted just a straight up gaming laptop, it's got to have a LAN port. But this is a mobile workstation. So one, you can plug it into a dock, which is nice. You can use the USB-C, get one of those mobile workstation docks. You can plug it into that, which is cool. You can plug in, you could use that for a LAN. But this is really for like an on-the-go, somebody who travels a lot. You need a mobile workstation, not just a desktop and not just a regular laptop will do. But this is not traditionally a gaming laptop. But the thing is, anytime you build something for work, when it comes to like high-powered stuff on computers, you can also do gaming. So you can play games on here. I even benchmarked it on the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And you can see right here, it works out pretty well. Now, definitely, it's not the greatest whenever it comes to when it comes to gaming, but you're still going to pull in some serious frames per second. And I played quite a few games of here. I played, of course, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I played the new Warzone 2. So there's a lot going on here. Gives you plenty of power, plenty of sophistication, all the stuff that you could possibly need in a laptop. It's got the MSI CreatorPro, which allows you to adjust the system modes, military-grade durability. So it's built like a tank. 5.5 pounds, built like a tank, aluminum, metal body, all that great stuff. It's got 4 speakers built into it. It's got a really nice sound setup. So you can do basically whatever you want with this thing. And you would hope so for a $4,499 laptop. Hopefully you can find some deals. Maybe you can get it cheaper. Shop around, of course. And as it gets older, of course, the price is going to drop because that's how computers work. But you've got everything you could possibly want on here, including a full media card slot on the side. You've also got the 3.2 USB-A slots. You've got USB-C slots for the Thunderbolt. It's got everything that you could possibly ask for. Big screen, got the big MSI logo on the top here. And because of the way it's weighted and the bottom being heavier, it's very, very easy to open one-handed. Ta-da! Super, super easy. So that's good. It's even got a Microsoft SteelSeries keyboard on here. Yes, SteelSeries keyboard. Great key press. It's nice, tactile, easy to type on. You've got the 10 key on here as well. So you got the full keyboard, complete layout. Like I said, built-in fingerprint sensor. Really big trackpad. Like the touchpad here is really, really large, and it's also centered well on the keyboard. And that's one thing I like. It's basically centered on the chassis. Sometimes you get a laptop with a really, really small touchpad, and it's kind of off-centered. I don't like that. I like the way this one's set up. It works out really well. Great sensitivity and good tactility. I mean, when you press in on it, it doesn't have any clicky noises. And that's something I like. Sometimes you get some of these trackpads, touchpads inside of computers and you press on them and they have a lot of clicky feedback. Not this one. And also the keys, they're pretty good too whenever it comes to tactility, feedback, not having a lot of loud noises, which is especially important when you're trying to work. You're trying to work out somewhere and you don't want a bunch of noise. You don't want to be distracted. You don't want to distract other people. So I think that's all good. And like I said, the screen's nice, 16 by 10 aspect ratio, great, nice, wide, good for working. The 165 Hz refresh rate is super nice. And get this, touchscreen. Yes, it's touchscreen. The IPS panel, touchscreen, touch capable. It even supports the MSI pen, which you can get, and you can use that as well. And they did not send that to me to test out with the laptop. I wish I could have. Because that's a really nice extra thing, especially whenever you're doing a lot of screen work, a lot of really integrative stuff. You want to be able to touch out and touch what you're working on, zoom in on the screen, use the MSI pen. I think if you're going to get this, you probably want to go ahead and get the pen to go along with it. But everything that you want here, super powerful, great for gaming, great for getting work done, great for video editing. And here's the thing. A lot of folks want to use a PC. Like, not everybody wants to use a Mac. Like, right now, my primary computer at home is a PC. When I edit, I typically, well, not typically, I do. I use a MacBook Pro. I use Final Cut Pro. That's what I like. But if I just had one PC, like one thing to rule them all, I would probably go with something like this because I like to be able to game. I like to primarily use a PC, and I want to be able to do my work. You don't want to have 3 different laptops. You don't want to have to go buy one laptop for one thing, one laptop for another thing. If you really do a lot of extensive work, you travel a lot, you want something, because also, when it comes to these big mobile workstations, a lot of times they're bulky, they're big, they might even have some plastic stuff on them, they're super heavy. Yes, granted, 5.5 pounds is heavy, but it's super thin. Like for being a mobile workstation, 5.5 pounds, this thing is very, very thin comparatively, especially when you look out at the field of competition. So I think from the build quality, I think with the performance, I think with what you're getting here, this is not something just any normal Joe Schmo is going to go buy off the street. You're going to buy this with intent and purpose, and it's probably going to be a business write-off because you're a business professional. So for a business professional or somebody like me who does a lot of traveling, a lot of work, a lot of video editing, but like let's say I wanted to have a computer I could video edit and I could game on, well, this would be a great opportunity, a great alternative from having a traditional PC, especially going out and about on the road. I do prefer PC over Mac, and there's a place for these. But again, this is very, very expensive. It's a definitely professional grade product. So you can use it for work, engineering, graphics display, design, and it's VR ready. So you can even do VR scalability and applications as well. So lots of stuff going on here. 64 gigs of RAM, big 17-inch screen, 165 hertz refresh rate, 16 gig graphics card, the A5500, and again, 14 core processor, up to 5 gigahertz. That's a ton of power in an i9, especially when you're talking about inside of a laptop. So big fan of the laptop. I like it a lot. Yes, it's expensive, but it gets the job done, and it gets a lot of job done. Like, it has a lot of different hats that it can wear and capable for people who are looking for something like this. So that's all I've got on my review of the CreatorPro 17 from MSI. And if you have any questions or comments, please go down in the comment section. I will get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.